So it's hard to imagine that this is already going to wrap up my week with the 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy. And I want to give a huge thanks for Hyundai for sending this vehicle out for me to review for you guys, and also just to be able to spend more time with this vehicle. Overall, I had very positive thoughts on the Santa Fe in this current generation, as you guys have seen from many of the videos I have created here on the channel. But living with the 2.5 liter turbo with the 8-speed dual clutch transmission definitely gave me a more detailed perspective and some of the nuances with this powertrain. I think it is still a fantastic vehicle. I would highly recommend it as a whole, but I do want to give you some of my driving impressions and overall thoughts on this vehicle, just to kind of wrap up and conclude this week-long review. So as you guys know, this is the Stormy Sea exterior. Calligraphy is the top trim in the Santa Fe. Really, you can't get any more fully loaded than this. Let's go ahead, not waste any more time. I want to make this a fairly quick driving review because I have shared many of my impressions before here on the channel, along with the other videos I have created with this exact vehicle. This one does have the black Napa leather interior, and it is a very spacious interior with tons of amenities, and that is one of the reasons why I can really recommend the Santa Fe to anybody out there, even with the next generation right around the corner. So like I mentioned, overall my thoughts are extremely positive with this generation Santa Fe and this particular vehicle in general as well. Although I will say the 8-speed dual clutch paired to this engine, although it gives it a very sporty, dynamic, powerful driving experience, may not be the one I'd recommend for every buyer of the Santa Fe out there, especially driving it back to back with the hybrid in this generation. So once we get on the roadway, I'll give you some of my thoughts there, but overall still a fantastic vehicle. I highly enjoyed my week with it, and very easy to recommend for most people out there that need a mid-size two-row SUV. Give it an acceleration here for you guys. Yeah, I mean, holy cow, fantastic. I mean, I guess that's the first way to start off this review. The 2.5 liter turbo in this chassis configuration is an extremely powerful, stout engine, and I would say it's got to rival any V6 out there, including Hyundai's own 3.8 liter naturally aspirated found in the Palisade. So overall, there is not a lack of power whatsoever in the Santa Fe, and the 8-speed is very crisp to shift, although under full acceleration, it can hesitate once it gets near redline, but it's still, I would say, a much sportier and much different driving experience from a normal torque converted automatic. But anyways, going back to the powertrain configurations available in the Santa Fe, this current generation has 3 different options. Well, I guess technically 4 if you include the plug-in hybrid. It has the base 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with less than 200 horsepower, less than 200 pound-feet of torque, and once again is the entry-level option. Then you have the base hybrid, or the 1.6 liter turbo, compared to a small electric motor and a small battery pack, which puts out 226 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Next, I would put the 2.5 liter turbo in there with 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, paired to the 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission. And then of course you can lump in the plug-in hybrid, which uses the same overall powertrain as the normal hybrid, with just a larger battery pack and a more powerful electric motor, which puts out about 250 to 260 horsepower and a little bit of additional torque as well. So those are the 4 different options you can get in this current generation Santa Fe. And really, like I said, there are several great options. I really go back and forth between which one I would recommend, whether it be the hybrid or the 2.5 liter turbo. But I think there's definitely a buyer for both vehicles depending on what your needs and priorities are. But with the next generation 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe, Hyundai has confirmed only 2 powertrains will be available, and those are the base 1.6 turbo hybrid or this 2.5 liter turbo here with the 8-speed wet dual clutch. But they are ditching the base 2.5 liter here in North America, as well as getting rid of the plug-in hybrid from what I've heard. So I would say that is a little bit of a bummer, even though I've not driven the plug-in hybrid Santa Fe. I would have liked to, just to see what the overall experience is like and if it's noticeably more powerful than the base hybrid. But anyways, going back to the Calligraphy that I'm currently in and currently driving, like I said, my week has been very positive. The powertrain is very good. I wouldn't say the 8-speed wet dual clutch is a perfect transmission or perfect application for this vehicle, but I haven't had so many issues or so many problems with it that I wouldn't recommend it if you do want the most powerful version of the Santa Fe or just the upper trims, including the Limited or the Calligraphy. Now, the biggest thing I've noticed about the 2.5 liter turbo As to why I would not recommend it, well, that's a red light there. Anyways, is the auto stop start functionality here on the dashboard and just with the engine in general. Now, of course, like I said, you can push this button and disable that feature, but it has to be done every single time you power on the vehicle. So that might get annoying, it might get old to people out there. And I would say that is the thing I've noticed, especially here with it being very warm and humid outside with the AC constantly running here on the inside, is that, you know, once you come to a stop, the engine shuts off. It only stays off for about 15, 20, 25 seconds or so. And immediately once the engine turns off, you really do notice the AC performance starts to suffer, and immediately warmer air starts blowing out of the vents. That is probably the worst experience or the worst reason as to why I would not recommend the 2.5 liter turbo over, say, something like the hybrid, which uses the high voltage system to power the AC system while the vehicle is coasting under electric power or at a stoplight where the internal combustion engine is not running. And along with that, I will say, the 8-speed wet dual clutch, say you're at a stoplight, hopefully we come to a stop here, and the engine does shut off. Once you start to resume or want to start accelerating from that complete stop, I would say there is a weird hesitation that does occur when you pair the dual clutch to the auto stop start for the engine functionality. So we'll see, engine shut off. We want to start to go again. There's just a hesitation between the two systems trying to work together, restarting the engine and then the dual clutch that starts to engage, that, you know, may get a little bit old over time. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's much better of an engagement versus the 7-speed dry dual clutch that Hyundai has used in some of their other vehicles, and currently that I have in my personal vehicle. But that's just something I noticed that's kind of a minor gripe, I would say, as far as the powertrain goes. But outside of that, really no complaints with the 2.5 liter turbo in the 8-speed transmission. Now, going over this rough pavement, as we can see here, this one does have the 20-inch alloy wheels, which are the largest currently available on this generation Santa Fe. And I would say ride quality is very good, or how I would expect or want a mid-size SUV like this. Now, sure, you can feel the kind of bumps in the road, potholes, anything like that, and that's just conducive of the lower-ish profile tires that are found on the Santa Fe in this top Calligraphy. 18s and 19-inch wheels are available in some of the lower trims as well. But overall, the ride quality has been very positive. It's plenty plush for everyday driving. It's not harsh whatsoever, but I would say it is a little bit more sporty and dynamic feeling than some of the other SUVs I've been in here on the market, specifically in this category of vehicle. So I think Hyundai did a great job tuning the suspension for a mix of very comfortable driving experience, but also maintaining a very good, sporty, kind of engaging experience, like I said, especially compared to the turbocharged engine. Now, I guess going back to one of the downfalls of the turbo engine over, say, the hybrid is the MPG that I have been averaging over my week with this vehicle. Not sure if you guys can read it down there on that little bar. I'll go ahead and also pull up the info pages for my current since refueling MPG. You can see I am currently averaging 21.2 MPG over 275 miles. The trip information did say that it would get right around 400 on a full tank, and I have to say that's probably only going to be possible if you're cruising this vehicle out on the interstate or a back road at 55, 60 miles an hour. So 21.2 MPG isn't terrible, although I would say it's a hair less than I would expect based upon the EPA ratings, which are 21 city and I believe 28 highway, if I'm not mistaken. So I have been meeting the technical EPA terms, although I would say my driving has been a mixed type. The first about 80 to 90 miles I did put on the Santa Fe was cruising at about 70, 72 miles an hour, and I was getting about 24 to 25 according to the computer, but you can see that has since dropped down to 21.2. Granted, I have done a little bit of additional filming with the vehicle idling, air conditioning running, so I'll give it a little bit of credit for that, but I would say it hasn't been. And there's another thing with the engine stop start is, you know, once the engine starts to shut down at a stop and you immediately want to go again, there's that slight delay. Now, in terms of visibility here in the Santa Fe, it's very good out the front along with the sides, given the larger side mirrors. You do have these little glass windows here next to the A-pillars on both sides, so the mirrors do not obstruct visibility, or the pillars themselves do not obstruct visibility. I have the seat actually in my lowest position that's possible, and I can still almost see the hood in front of the vehicle. So the dash design is fairly low in this generation. You can pretty much see over the hood if you raise the seat up any sort of height that you may need, depending on your body style. And like I said, the rear view visibility is good with the rear glass. I would say there may be a little bit of a blind spot over by that C pillar, but there is a nice large window that you can see out of. So depending on the vehicle that is in your blind spot, quote unquote, you may be able to see that, but that is the worst case scenario. Otherwise, all around visibility is very good, especially considering the overall footprint of this SUV. So getting on the interstate here, rolling on the power. Oh, you can see I am like half throttle at most. And going around this turn, I wish you guys could see my face. I mean, for this size of SUV and what it is, it puts a smile on my face, and you can see we're already up to speed. Oh man, for what it is a very fun to drive vehicle. I'll just have to say that. But going ahead and putting on the safety systems here, this does have Highway Drive Assist 1.0, lane follow assist, the lane centering functionality, and all that stuff. It's a very good driver assistance systems, I have to say. It doesn't bounce around too much between the lanes. I would say it's better than some of the other systems I have tested from other manufacturers. There is no lane change assist function, so it's just do it on your own. And then once you merge into the next lane, it will recenter you between the lines. I know they're a little bit tricky or hard to read on this particular roadway, but doing a good job maintaining the speed behind the semi in front of us. Now, like I mentioned in my likes and dislikes video here on this Santa Fe, I have enjoyed several aspects of it, some of which I already knew and were accustomed to, others I learned while driving this particular vehicle. But overall, the cabin space is extremely spacious. There's about 23 inches from door panel to center console here on the driver's side, which is actually the most that I've experienced in vehicles of this size, so I think that is very good. Materials are extremely good throughout. The Nappa leather seats are extremely comfortable, and as a whole, the ergonomics work out extremely well. I like all of the physical controls here on the center console, the traditional touchscreen up on the dash, the door panel. Like I said, all the buttons are laid out extremely well. I think the only thing that I really have come to complain about or dislike with this vehicle is the audio system, considering it is the premium offering from Hyundai. And this is something I've not only heard from myself with my own opinion, but other people as well, other owners have expressed a concern or a lack of enthusiasm about the premium offerings from Hyundai across various models in their lineup. Things from the Elantra to the Palisade, and here in the Santa Fe as well. I just think Hyundai has kind of lost it with their premium audio systems. It's a fine average system. It does well for most people out there, but it's certainly not what I would say a premium offering was from Hyundai 5 to 7 years ago across their vehicles, or from other manufacturers currently. It doesn't meet the standards in terms of the performance. So that is just something that I would say Hyundai should work on, or I would highly recommend that they address in some of their upcoming models. But yeah, as a whole, everything's worked pretty well. I will say, when I got this vehicle, the sunroof controls up here are not functioning as intended. This should be a one-touch button operation, and unfortunately with this vehicle, there appears to be something that has broken with the sunroof controls, and you do have to hold it just to open it, and actually the button to pop it open, pressing it up, as you can see, does not work. So the buttons and stuff is broken up here, but again, warranty would cover that if you were to purchase this vehicle and it would fail like that. So that's just something that was a little bit strange, and I thought was worth noting, given the vehicle was dropped off to me like that. So that's pretty much going to wrap up my overall driving reviews and week-long impressions of this generation Santa Fe. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you currently own this generation Santa Fe, are considering purchasing one, or just watching to see my overall feedback and impressions, or are you waiting for the next gen 2024 to come out, given those should be rolling out to dealerships sometime in the first quarter of 2024. I am very excited myself to see what it has to offer, especially with the 2 powertrains that they have confirmed, along with the 3rd row seating that will be available. So I guess that is something worth noting with this current generation versus the next gen, is that this one is a 2-row only. The next gen will be offered with a small 3-row, 6-passenger total configuration. So that might be a reason why some people may wait for that generation, just because they would like the additional seating in the back. But overall, I think it will be interesting to see. Make sure to stay tuned and subscribe here on the channel so you guys get my first impressions when I have hands-on time with the next generation 2024. Once again, huge thanks to Hyundai for sending out this vehicle for me to test and review for you guys. And as always, hope to see you guys in the next one.